Yeah, let's take the one with 5 plus 3. So nice time control. And finally, I'm playing with white pieces. All right, so I think there will be some fun. Yeah, we have Alekhine defense, which usually leads to some funny positions. And this line gives white a chance to continue with some attacking stuff like that. And my pawn decides to castle, so e6 is the main line. I don't think it's a good idea. I've played this several times, I believe, against others. Let me just try this move. I believe that e6 is also great, followed by knight f7, which is good enough. Yeah, and now, as far as I remember, that is the move here. So just play queen h3, attacking h7. So with the different order of moves, we got actually that position after e6, but with castling, which is not right. It leads to quite good situation for white, but who knows? Maybe my opponent will find a way to keep it together. For now, I'm just attacking on the kingside. As you can see, every move is an actual attack against something concrete. So black's position is rather vulnerable there. The question, why didn't you play e6, Andrey? I bet I had something like this line, exactly with this order of moves once during my bleed sessions, and I was not entirely satisfied with the result, although it looks at first glance fantastic, but somehow black is finding counterplay, I guess. I just wanted to try something different. That was the major reason, I guess. So now this g5 is a great hook for me. I mean, I can probably just attack it immediately, like queen g3 and h4. I think that's the right thing to do. Moreover, from g3, my queen also supports e5 pawn, which will be a target for black, I believe. After d takes c5, d5, and knight c6, something like that. This pawn will need some defense, for sure. And right now I want to play h4. So I'm not sure if g5 is the best reaction. H5 deserves some attention as well. But both moves actually weaken black's position on the kingside. That's why this line is not recommended. So it's not recommended to castle at this point. Which makes perfect sense because, you know, your knight, which is usually on f6, covering h7 square, is far away. Now it's on b6. So you have to be very careful with castling short after that. And you have to be very careful with, you know, weakening the position even more. And if you do, like this, so g6, bishop g7, creating some dark squared weaknesses around your king, then probably castling there is too risky. I would have considered it too risky, to be honest. All right, let's go there. Straightforward. I'm probably just fine. Queen g4. Don't see anything wrong with that move. The next will be bishop takes h6 if king doesn't go away. So, looks like just a pawn for free. At this right now, I'm not sure. We'll see. What can go wrong here? So let's say if d takes e5, I just take on h6 for sure. Creating a threat of actually checkmating black in one move. And if something like queen f6, I will have plenty of different options, including just taking everything on g7 and taking on e5, which will give me 2 extra pawns, which is quite good. Let's see if we have something better than that. So it's just good enough for me to take there. Maybe bishop g5 is a better option. Let's just check it. I don't think so. After bishop g5 and queen f5 position is not so clear to me. Yes, let's just take it. Why not? Let's just try not to overcomplicate the things. I don't think it's needed here. Now just d takes c5. 2 extra pawns. Good enough. So normally, you get something like this ending, but with the material balance if you play the main line. Now, it's just 2 pawns down for black, which is definitely bad. Knight goes to a5. Doesn't create any serious threats, so I'll just continue with the development. Knight e2, preparing castling, maybe intending to do something like knight e4, knight f6 at some point. There are some ideas of bringing the rook to attack through h3, by the way. Yeah, I love my position, so let's just castle. Great position. I think we can just challenge that bishop immediately, because g2 is not hanging. Will be just lost immediately if black captures there because of the pin and on the g file. Knight takes b3. There are options. For some reason I want to take this way just to limit the activity of that knight probably. Although taking with the knight was also completely fine. Yeah. Bishop b8. All right. And now I think we should just bring the knight to e4. Since it is possible. And this is probably just the best move to stop c5, to bring that knight to f6 at some point. Let's just protect the pawn with the f4. And now c5 is just pseudo-active, I guess, because it weakens d6 and doesn't really give black anything. So let's just bring the knight to f3. There is another comment. I've spent these days watching your endgame series on YouTube. Really love it. Well, thanks a lot. Really happy that it helps. f5. Okay, this is another weakening of the position. e6 is now under attack. Maybe under attack, so it's definitely very bad. So let's just attack it directly. Why not? I don't even see how to protect it since the bishop is overloaded. So it cannot go to f7 and simultaneously protect the knight on d7. So I think e6 is lost now. Yeah. Complete disaster for black. The result of weakening of the position. And my opponent resigned. I think it's correct, because it's absolutely lost. It's been lost since I managed to win the material, right? Since I've played h4, I think, pretty much. That's why here you don't castle, and instead you play e6, and then after white's queen f3, you also don't castle because it is effectively the same position, but you play queen e7, protecting f7. So that is what you should do. Just check it. It's the main line, and it gives black, in the main line, it gives black something similar to the ending we had, but materially balanced one, right? What we had later in this game was very close to that, but with 2 extra pawns for white, which is definitely bad for black. Thanks for the game.